Hello everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe. People of Earth, welcome to a brand new build. On the bench today, Korben's taxi from the Fifth Element, something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to it. Now, quite a few years ago, my good friend Lou actually built this in a smaller scale. It was a solid brick of resin that he had to drill the whole inside out to create an interior. He did an amazing job for what he had to work with, but now there are files available that will allow you to actually build this at a studio scale with an interior. Not sure how awesome the interior detail is on this particular print, and it is printed out in PLA, not resin. You can print this in resin if you've got a large enough build plate. I'm hoping to get an even bigger build plate when the Elegoo Jupiter 2 comes out later this year. But right now I'm only able to print in PLA, something on this scale. Here we are, and it came in 4 individual parts that I actually glued together for your sanity and for mine, so that you didn't have to watch me doing that. PLA goes together quite nicely with CA glue. You do have to sort of grind up the surface a little bit, and I have found this stuff called Tricky Stick from Rocket. Here's those is. And what I do is I just paint this on to one side, and then of course on the other side I apply my CA glue. Now certain CA glues bond a little better than others. The Zappa Gap that I sort of use as a go-to, it's a little too brittle for this. So you might want to think about something like Bob Smith Industries. Theirs seems to have a little more of a bite to it. Now, don't ask me why. I don't know anything about the CA glue formulas. I can only give you my personal experience, and that seemed to work quite well for me. Okay, let's take a look at this little puppy here. I've done quite a little bit of cleaning up to it, as you can see. When I lift it up, I mean, it's got quite an oomph to it. We've got some detail parts we've got to put in underneath. We've got all of the various lighting that has to go on, and I think that this is relatively accurate, I have to say. Now, my friend Randy Cooper, the incredibly talented Randy Cooper, is actually working on one of these himself while he works on 50 other things at once. He's so prolific. But he sent me some files for the edge thickness of this. Let's show you what I'm talking about here. When you sort of look at this from this perspective, Randy believes, and if Randy says it, it's probably correct because he's a professional model maker by trade, that this particular bumper is not thick enough. And sure enough, this is the actual production car. This is the full-scale production vehicle here on this photo. And it does appear to have a little bit more of a girth to it. And the larger lights in front are actually a little wider towards the front of the grille than they are towards the sides of the grille. And that's not the case with this particular model. So if you're looking for complete accuracy, you're not finding it here, folks. Canon we ain't. But it's pretty darn close, and it looks really good. What I do appreciate about this particular print is that all of the sort of the cutouts here that will allow you, with channels in them I might add, that are going to allow us to actually get our clear parts in here and light this. And I'm going to be using my go-to Evans Design pre-resisted lights. Sorry, just doing a little bit of housekeeping while we're here. It's my Virgo. I'm seeing it and I want to fix it right away. But anyway, what you'll notice is that these particular openings in the front here, there we go, are not, they're not as they're sort of not as narrow as they appear to be in the filming miniature. Actually, this is the actual car, I believe, the production car, before it gets shut up. So you can see there is quite a significant amount of difference, and we don't have that you know, it's there, but it's not as demonstrative as perhaps it should be. The grill looks pretty good. We'll take a look at that in a second, and we've got our rear engines ready to go. We've got all of the openings that we need here for our lighting setup. So that's really good. So it's going to get mostly, there's a couple of white lights, there's some mostly yellow lights. The paint job on this is relatively simple. The top of the cab is all it's actually all yellow. The sides and all the way underneath are all metal. But I wanted to show you this for a second here, because I think it's worth us taking a look. So once again, getting back to this girth. So what Randy has created is these elements here that essentially are going to go over your well, let me put this one in here so that you can see it. They're gonna sit under and under the engine here, and they're gonna run along here like this. And I've printed out a whole bunch of them just so that we can see all of this coming together. Let me add that one, and then we can add this one like this, like this. Like this is, and you can see it adds another layer of dimension to this, but it is not it would not be screen accurate to the full-size car. It may well be to the production miniature, and I'm pretty sure that's probably where he went for his information. But let's take a look at the interior quickly before we move on, because the next thing we're going to have to do is start prepping the lighting on this. And curiously enough, you know, I've got all of these clear parts, and you know, as is typical with these kinds of things, once you want to really be careful that you're absolutely sure you've got them exactly where they need to go, because once you press these into place, they're not coming out. So you really want to get a coat of primer on here, and even a base coat, before you start pushing these in. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of hurt, I think, in terms of getting a really good decent paint job on that. But all the lenses are there. But let's take a look at the interior. So we've got a rear seat that goes in like that. You've got a rear panel. There's two panels. There's this piece that I had to print out, and there is the actual partition wall, and then there's some frames that go on here, and then we'll put a clear part in there, and we've got some signage that has to go on there, and that all has to be dirtied up. But this essentially is going to sit like this. And then the front seat is going to drop in like that. And then the cockpit you've got, which is kind of fun, not incredibly detailed, but it's fun. It's going to sit in. It's going to sit in here. We've got a steering wheel as well that is going to go in. I'm going to add I'm going to add some details to all of this, of course, because I feel like it should have a little more detail. But that's going to sit up here like this. Now, essentially, that's what you get with this kit. If you've ever used or gone to the Golden Armor website, Chris over there has a fantastic business, wonderful website, very talented, and he has his own version of this. And I have those files. I picked those files up because they also include a Korben. And he sits quite nicely in here like this. And so that is kind of cool. And that gives us how our complete interior. So lots going on here, and I think there's more than enough detail, because when you go ahead and you drop your top down on this, and we'll do that carefully here, like this, you'll notice that you do see inside the dash. If I tip this to camera just slightly, you'll notice here that you can actually see Korben inside. I can't, there, you can see Korben inside. Let me get some more light on Mr. Korben in there. There he is. Let me go here. There we go. So there he is. He's inside. So we can definitely put some light on the inside of this. We've got the cab light. Now, of course, we're presenting this prior to the collapse of the roof. We're not doing the collapse of the roof because I want the taxi sign up there, and I don't want to break into this. But here's the clear part for the taxi sign, and we get decals as well. And so that is going to sit up in here like this, and we need to get that lit, and that will look like that. You've got side windows, you've got a front windshield, a rear window that need to be glassed over, and I'm hoping and I'm thinking that that if you look at the curve of this, it's not too bad. It's not too dramatic. It's not bad enough that we can't go ahead and cut ourselves a template for this and drop a windshield in here. So I think we're going to be doing that. Okay, so there you go. That is the Korben cab. You've got this piece that sits on top of it like that, and then you've got this grid that grabs the underneath of the car, and that gets it up. And of course, this is the giant foot, if you remember. So, you know, I mean, not terrible. Are we going to use this? Don't know. I don't know. I don't know just quite yet if I'm going to use it or not. Jury's still out on that. If you get the Etsy kit, the lighting package comes with these inserts. And you simply drop your LEDs into these inserts, and then they, in turn, are able to slip into these little holes right here like this. And as you can see, that creates your lighting effect. Now is kind of nifty, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of them. I've done the rear light here. So that's ready to go. I've got one more of the red ones to do in the back, and then I'll go ahead and do the front ones, which are all warm white except for the grill light, which is the center headlight, and that'll be in yellow. And that'll take care of this. That really is very, very helpful. What I haven't determined yet is just exactly how I'm going to power this up. Now, the only way I can do that is to either put a battery source inside of the top here, which means that the actual top of the car, which does key in quite nicely, just doesn't get glued down, and you'll see that seam around. You know, it's the classic Jupiter 2 situation where you can drop the top down, but if you want to remove that lid, you're going to get a gap no matter what you do. So the only other solution for me is to obviously bring these down through the base, into the base, I should say, and that's probably what I'll end up doing, because I do not like looking at those gaps. It could also potentially create light leaks as well, because I intend to light up the interior. So as I'm sort of thinking this through out loud, it's becoming pretty obvious what I'm going to end up doing. But I just wanted to sort of share with you how this is coming together. It's quite a nice process. So the cab light at the top here is an SMD 12-volt strip light. That I was able to find one that was very, very condensed. So there were 3 bulbs together, and that sits nicely there and illuminates that quite beautifully. So now what I have to do is I've just got to sort of make sure I know where everything lives in this cab. So that I can start to sort of work on the finish of this interior. So I've got room on this side. Yeah, let me show you this. I've actually got room here to actually light this screen up. And if I wanted to, I could put blinkies on that, I suppose. I definitely have room for some light in the dashboard here. So if we turn this to camera here, I can remove this for now, just so that it makes it easier for you to see. I've got a screen here, and I've got 2 screens here, which will add some light to this. So I'll use most likely SMD chips for that, and then I probably will do an SMD chip in the back here, but I've got to print out some transparencies for these screens. But that should work quite well. And of course, here's my front seat here, which is going to live on this side of it. So I've got room to hide it behind here. So I think I'm almost ready now to sort of start working on stuff. I'll get these interior lights in, and then I think we'll be absolutely ready to do final wiring on this and figure out how this is actually coming up through the base here, because as you can see, one of the difficulties is that the only place probably to do it would be on the floor in front of this center console, which is not the end of the world, but it means that everything has to channel to there. Step 1 is going to be to work on these console lights and get those installed before we go any further. And then once I've done that, I can actually figure out how I'm going to run my lights. And now I've got room here. They've actually given us room on either side of this. There's quite a nice gap here on this side here and this side here to run lights through. If I want to drop them down and then run them along and then in. But I can also run them along the inside here, because that'll be on the floor and you won't see it. So we are definitely getting there, but I mean, you know, it ends up being far more than you expect. I'll tell you that much. It's classic Phil. You know, oh, I'll just put a couple of lights in, no problem. Yeah, it's a problem, but an awful lot of fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get all these cleaned up and tidied up, and get my light into my dashboard here, and then we'll be ready to actually start to think about painting this. It should go pretty fast once we've done that, believe it or not, because it's only two colors. It's the yellow, and then it's all the metal around the skirt and the underneath. It's all metal, and then of course it's just aged down. So so really the bulk of it will be done once this lighting is in, if you can believe that. So I'm gonna do a couple of things. I'm gonna put an 8050 SMD strip on the floorboard of the back of the car, just to give it a little ambient light, and then I'm going to use a regular SMD strip piece in white, just to light up the cabin so you can see inside the car. You're going to see quite a bit. If you look here, you can see there's quite a bit of window, and I know this has got quite a low profile, obviously, but there's plenty of window edge here. And if this is lit so that you can see inside the cabin, you can see where my finger is. You're going to see the ceiling. So I think it is worth it to give the car a liner. Now, what this is this is a material you buy to lay down in drawers or on shelves when you don't want something to slip. But I like the feel of it and the look of it. So I'm going to use this in the top of the car. It's going to lay in like this, and I'm going to glue it in, and then we're going to paint this in a sort of a dark brown. And we'll give the inside door cards a dark brown as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That'll be the last of the lighting. Everything will be in. And then we're going to have a quick conversation about the base. Because I have to, since I'm running SMD strip now, I need a wall wart with a 12 volt. You know, never easy, but that's what we've got to do in order to at least get these SMD strips to light. They do not like to. They'll kind of work for a few minutes on 9 volts. They really don't like it. They like to be at 12 volts. Okay. Well, here's a nice effect. I've put the strip lighting under the liner. And you get a really nice effect, and it diffuses a little bit. So I think that's an absolute result there, and that's what I'm going to do. So I just wanted to sort of share that with you. Bearing in mind now, of course, that everything is going to be 12 volts. Interestingly enough, this particular SMD strip, I tried running on 9 volts, and sure enough, no, it does not like it. It's not enough juice. All good. So we've put the brown in, and we've got the liner in, and that's looking really good. So now I'm going to have to concentrate on getting these windows cut and ready to install. Obviously we're going to install those from the inside, so I'm going to make those templates now. There's a decal that belongs in the lower right hand corner of here. You can see it in a couple of shots of the film. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it disappears. Classic film coordination, right? So we're just going to go ahead and put this in where it belongs, like this, because we start to sort of get these get this sort of ready to install, because it's one of those situations where it has to be installed before we can actually close up the cab. So we're just going to install it like this, and that partition is almost ready to go in. So basically where I am is I've got my benches now ready to go, and I've got my console ready to go, and it is wired up. I'm not going to do any more detail than this. I've put a little bit of chipping on here. I'm not going to be doing too much more, simply because you just don't see enough of the cab for me to want to go any further. But I'm happy with this. I mean, the bulk of the work, the bulk of the work is going to be on the exterior of this of the cab. That's where I want to concentrate my efforts. But it's great to have an interior of this. You know, it's like one of those classic things. There's been a lot of these offerings in the past out there, but with no interiors. So it's nice to be able to look in that window and see a little bit of the detail. So that's good. The rest of the decals really belong on the outside. There's one other decal. It's a see, I have it here, and it looks like his license. It's this one here. So we're going to go ahead and get that in on the console as well, and then we can clear code everything to make sure it's all locked in. The nice thing about the Korben cab is it's going to get beaten up and it's going to get bullet holes all over it, so it doesn't have to have that perfect showroom shine, unless that's of course what you wanted. I, on the other hand, if you know me at all, know that I go for dirty, rusted, broken any day. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, but we're just using Tamiya's flat yellow, just giving it a few coats. Let it dry. We'll give it a light sanding. We'll do one more coat of it just to make sure it looks sufficiently cab yellow. Well, after several sandings and several coats of my flat yellow, and then I finished it with a Tamiya rattle can of the camel yellow, because I like the richness of it, and also I like this heavy sheen that it's given me with the gloss coat for my decals, and then we'll pull it way back and age it when we're done. But I think you'll agree that's a pretty decent looking cab. Now, the other thing that the rattle can did is it helped to smooth out some of the harsher lines that you got with the print. There's not much you can do about it, unfortunately. If you're going for something this size and you're going to do it in PLA, you're going to suffer a little bit of that. But I think we did really well. Okay, so next couple of things that we are concentrating on here. Let me pull the top off. We've got to now concentrate on getting ourselves prepped for final assembly, and obviously before we do our metal work for the lower half. Now, in order to get a 12-volt system into here, I've got to drill through the tub, as it were. And what makes that extra tricky, unfortunately, is you don't have very many choices of where you got to go. Now, I have made an executive decision, and that is that I am going to use the display base system that comes with this print. And the reason for that is because it's got quite a bit of girth to it. But clearly what that indicates to me is that I've got to find another place for my 12 volt to come in. So I'm going to drill in here with a jack for 12 volts, and that's what we'll display it on for now, meaning that we will use the foot for now that comes with this. We may change that at a later date, but for now we're going to come with that. So I got to get a jack in here, drilled into here, and never easy, because with PLA this doesn't, it doesn't like to be drilled that nicely. But we'll do our best to see what we can do. We've also got to I've got to just do a little bit of puttying here before we go ahead and get our final coat of paint on these, because everything is metal below the line here, and it's sort of a gunmetal-y kind of thing, a little darker on the engines perhaps, as you can see in this particular shot here. That's sort of what we're going for. That's kind of the look, although that's not a filming miniature. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going here. I will report back as soon as I've got my hole drilled in and I've got my power jack in, and then we'll get going on final paint for the bottom of the tub. That can dry, and then we can start working on installing our interior, closing it up, and getting our windows in, and then getting our decals on. It's a lot to do, as there always is a lot to do, but we are definitely getting there. Let me just lift this off and show you my jack, which is nice and clean. That is here, and here's a better shot of it actually. Right here, here's my jack, and that's nicely installed. So I'm ready now to go ahead and get a coat of paint on this. It needs to be primed first, obviously, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish up my engine puttying now, and then that will allow us to go ahead and start working on the final details of this. So it's going to start moving pretty quickly now, I think. It's time to put the lights back into the vehicle and permanently install those. They don't have to be glued in or anything. We just slip them down, and then you're going to carefully tuck them into these ridges right here that were pre-cut into the print, which I really like. But you do have to make sure you get everything down flush enough, because this pin here will catch if this isn't flush. So we just got to make sure everything is sort of sitting down nicely, and then obviously make sure that everything is tested so that we don't end up with a bunch of lights that don't ultimately work. So what I got to do is just get some power on here again, because I'm putting a lot of sort of pressure down on the on this right here, and of course we're getting plenty of light, so that's really nice. So that's working. So we've got to get the front, all these lights in, and we've got to get the grill on, while we also have to put in the cockpit and everything else like that. I think I'm going to go ahead and do all of that before we start looking at what we've got to do to ultimately start aging and weathering this and getting decals on, because I just want to make sure that I've got the mechanics of this correct before I start to think about sealing anything up. But I think we're okay. And I think that ultimately leaving a gap in the back here for my wiring to sort of just sit down and snug in is not a bad idea. And there is this dashboard piece that can actually even go over it like that and hide everything, so you don't see any wires in there if you so choose to do that. That would be pretty neat. We can go ahead and drop this one in here. Like this. That's going to go in here. I can check this one. And that one is doing fine as well. So that is good. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue in these just to seat them. That's all they'll need. But where this is close to this pin, you do have to just make sure everything is down. Now, the one thing I'll say about, if you do these yourself, sort of build your resisted LEDs, which I still do, for some reason I haven't sourced a tinier resistor like Evans uses. Okay, and we're good there. So, but that would be a really good thing to think about going forward, is getting some smaller resistors. Same, it's the same rating in terms of what they're able to handle in terms of their ohms, but they're tinier. They're just a tinier resistor. They're half the size of the resistors that you get, standard resistors that get sent in the old traditional lighting kits, or when you buy resistors online. So that's something definitely worth sourcing. Obviously they're out there. It's just taking some time to source those. Okay, so all the lights are in. I'm going to go ahead and just tighten everything up with some hot glue, get everything clamped down, and then I'm going to start working on my interior, which also needs to be lit. And I have wirages for that. Now the thought here is that everything is going to run along one of these sides here and then into the back, because we're not going to see anything along this line right here. You just won't see. So our cab lip is only about 4 mil, 3 mil from the edge here, so that's a good thing. So we can definitely start piecing this together and locking things down, and see what we've got. Quick progress report here. All the lights are in and everything is working, and she's looking quite good, and she's looking equally as nifty in the rear. So I'll tip it up and show you what that's looking like. I don't have the lenses in yet, so I've got to get that taken care of. The cab light is on, all the windows are in, and the interior is looking quite good too. I like the blue glow that I'm actually getting from the consoles that I've put in there. I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to break this up into another part because I've got to seal this up. I've got to weather it, age it. I've got to put decals on it, and I've got some other stuff that I want to do, and that's going to take quite a bit of time. So I think I'm going to leave this update here. As much as I desperately wanted to try and get this finished, there's no point in rushing this, but she's really coming together. One of the challenges I'm going to have, and you can see it here, is getting this sealed up. Now it does close, but like you can see, there it goes. I just heard it snap down. So we'll probably get one side epoxied, and then we'll come back and we'll clamp down the other side and get that epoxied. It's just one of those things where the PLA has you know, it doesn't stay perfect, unfortunately, but she's really coming together, and I couldn't be happier with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this one, and hope that it's been enjoyable for you. It's really interesting. I was never really a huge fan of the movie. The story fell apart for me in a lot of ways, and I think was a little confusing. But the production values were absolutely through the roof, extraordinary, and I just love all of the details, of course. And I have a Mondoshan, a really nice scaled up one that I think we'll you know, now that we've got our cab, we need our Mondoshan, and that's from Cosmic Scale Models. And of course, a big thank you to Randy Cooper for all of his advice and help, and design ideas as well. Yeah, it's coming together. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. I post most days sort of in the weeds what's going on in my bench photos. That's on my Instagram account @spruverse. You can buy me a cup of coffee. That link is on my channel page. That's for my charitable builds, as is also a link to the World of Wayne's merch page, where you can pick up all of my shirts and paraphernalia. Again, 100% of all of those proceeds go directly to charity. I don't see a penny of them, so pick yourself up a Spruverse shirt. And hey, as always, I wish all of you, please be safe and be well. Build something! And I'll see you next time. We'll get this sucker finished. Take care, everybody. Be well.